So the guys at SX Pro just brought me down 2 UF8s by SSL. I've got the controller here as well, and believe me, this would look amazing as controller, the UF8 and then the UC1 and then another UF8. Imagine that, that would look amazing. Right, but what I wanted to look at with this was how does this UF8 compare to an SSL Nucleus. Now, I've used an SSL Nucleus for the best part of 10 years. I love the Nucleus, but if you had the choice of buying 2 UF8s or a Nucleus, which should you go for? Now, I'll be honest here, right, and say in today's modern world, go for the UF8s. Now, the reason being is the Nucleus uses Ethernet, and to set up the Nucleus with Ethernet, and it's believe me, it's a bit of a faff. Once you do get there, it's an incredible piece of kit. I love the Nucleus. I will continue to use the Nucleus until it dies or becomes incompatible with modern DAWs, which I doubt it will ever do. But so we got a Nucleus here. Now, when you compare the UF8 to the Nucleus, this is just a DAW controller, right? But let's start compare price. 3,500, just under 1,000. So price wise, you're talking 2,000 for the 2. Let's just say 2,000. 2,000 for the 2. 3,500 for the Nucleus. Now, what are you getting extra with the Nucleus? 2 mic pre's, super analog mic pre's, which realistically, grand's worth of mic pre's when you consider X-Rack modules, £600 a module. You've got 2 mic pre's there, super analog mic pre's. And then you also have interfaces as well. So this can be an all-in-one interface and monitor control and everything else. So it does have parts that this controller doesn't have. But let's face it, I don't use the interface. I don't use the mic pre's. I've got them hooked into the patch bay, but I don't necessarily use them. I just use this as DAW control. And the reason I just use it as DAW control is because it was the best DAW controller on the market 10 years ago, in my opinion. It's brilliant as DAW control, but it's expensive for just DAW control. Enter the UF8. So this is basically just DAW control. Now, the only thing that in the DAW control that the Nucleus has, but the UF8 doesn't just straight off the bat, is transport control. Now, transport control is brilliant. Even though spacebar is here and I can press play, I still will use this transport control a lot. So that I love. I like that about it. I'm sure you can put soft keys, assign soft keys to play, stop, record. I'm sure you can do that. So you could create this, turn this into certain transport control, basically. Everything else, it basically does the same. You've got pots, you got the pots. You've got faders, you got faders. You got solo, cut, select, solo, cut, select. Everything is pretty much the same. You've got flip, everything is there. So in terms of DAW control, the Nucleus and the UF8 are pretty much the same. Now, how does it feel? I mean, the pots, they feel a lot looser than the Nucleus. The Nucleus feels a lot more expensive. It does. I will say that. I feel like I look, it wobbles. I feel like I could snap that. You got clickable pots, clickable pots. Still great. I mean, there's nothing wrong with this, but the Nucleus one does feel that little bit better. Now, bear in mind as well, we're going to do faders here. Now, bear in mind, faders, brand new faders, 10 years old. These faders, they feel cool. They feel nice. The Nucleus faders have a little bit more resistance, which is nicer. Like, I feel like, yeah, I feel like I could maybe flick one of them once the DAW controller's not resetting. I feel like in the mix maybe I could flick one of them and move it quite a bit, whereas that doesn't. Yeah, I feel like the Nucleus are a bit more solid. Yeah, the only other thing is there's no jog wheel, so you haven't got the jog wheel that you have on the Nucleus. Yeah, I mean buttons. So I'm not massively keen on these buttons, but they feel fine. But this, bear in mind, is there's nothing wrong with these buttons. By no means wrong. It's just these. The Nucleus buttons feel really good, and they feel really solid. Whereas these, you know, they're cheaper buttons. Now, if I was buying one or the other in today's industry, being 2021, this is released. This is the Nucleus 1 and the Nucleus 2 are kind of old now. I would go with the UF8s, regardless of what I've just said regarding these don't feel as expensive. The faders don't feel as nice as these faders. I would still go with the UF8s, and I would personally myself consider putting a UF8, a controller and a UF8 across this section here. I would consider that, and replacing the Nucleus, just based on the fact that I know this, like I could set this up, these UF8s up in a matter of 2 minutes, if that. Really quick, simple, because they're just USB-C to USB or USB-C to USB-C. They're really quick. With the 360 software as well, it's really quick, really easy to set up, and they look great. I would go with these. Do I need two? Yes, actually. Reason I say get two, you don't need to. It's a luxury. You don't need a DAW controller. It's a luxury item. It makes you work faster. It makes you work better as well. But you don't by no means need it. Now, reason I say have two is because what you could have here is you could have, say, your drum bus, and then the majority of drums will, let's say, go 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So say your drums go all the way up to there. You've got 9 drums, and they go all the way up to there. Now you want to make sure that you've got all your drums on your control. So when you're mixing your drums, you can mix them, and you've got control over all your drums, and you're not having to bank to get to the next little set here. You've got them here, so you can work on all of your drums. And the majority of drums are going to fit on 16 channels. Then also is your next instrument that you want to mix in with your drums is going to be here. So you haven't got drums and then you've got a bank, next instrument on here, bank, next instrument. You can work across. So your drums come up to here, and then your bass is here, for instance. Your guitars are here, and you can quite easily work across a mix on a 16 channel. 8 channels a bit smaller, where you only get one bus basically on one controller. So you would have your drum bus there, and then all your drums going into your drum bus. But then if you didn't have that, your bass would be on the next bank. So it is really helpful having another bank of 8. I would always recommend 16, but obviously, you know, 8 is £1,000. 16s, £2,000. So it's a lot of money. Now, talking about money, how much one of these costs, so let's just say we're going to buy one, we're going to just under £1,000. Is it worth buying a UF8 or any DAW controller in that matter? Yes, it is 100% worthwhile getting a DAW controller. The reason being is because a mouse and keyboard, you can't feel what you're doing. You know, when you're working on a DAW controller, to control your faders, you work differently. You work by feel. You feel the motion of where to put that sound. You go like that, and you don't look at the fader, and you feel where you want to put it. You don't get that with a mouse because you can't feel that fader moving. You have to visually look at the fader moving on your screen. So there is that you get with a DAW controller. The other thing you get with a DAW controller is, say for instance, I've got a snare there, I've got a kick there, snare there, and a hi-hat there. I can push my kick and snare up together. So if I've got that set where I want it and I just want to nudge it up a little bit together, I can do that. I can control, you know, I can adjust my hi-hat with that, and then I can get this one, and I can maybe my toms, for instance, say I've got 3 toms, I can kind of do this with it. You know, I can really, I can move more than one thing, more than one fader at a time. Whereas you're confined with a mouse and keyboard, you're confined to just going one fader, then the next one, then the next one, then the next one. You'll work so much faster. You will just literally be like pushing faders and working in such a more intuitive way. Also, as well, is, I'll be honest here, right? I've used this controller, the UC1, for a little while now. And I've got the EQs and the compressors up here, and you know, I feel where I'm using it with control, I feel like I'm working on these compressors. I feel like I'm doing that, and the sound difference between them is 90% there. So you know, it's very close in terms of the sound quality you get from the plugin to the hardware. It's not identical, and it's not, you know, the hardware is superiorly better, but it's close enough that, you know, I've got unlimited instances and I get that feel of my gear that I have there. So this controller paired with this, I mean, it's a bold claim, but you have pretty much got an SSL console control. You haven't got the analog summing, you haven't got super analog summing, you haven't got any of this summing that's in it. So, you know, you haven't got any of that. So you're not going to get the sound, but you'll get the feel. And by getting the feel, no matter who it is, you get the feel of working on a big console. You get that feel. You work better. It's strange, but your brain makes you work better because of the way you are working. And you know, that's why I would always recommend getting a DAW control. I haven't not worked on had a DAW controller since 20, probably, yeah, good 20 years. I've always had a good DAW controller that controls, and that is because time is money at the end of the day, and anything that makes me get from point A to point B quicker and more efficiently is worth its weight in gold. And I personally could not live without my Nucleus. Could I swap this for my Nucleus? Would I swap these for my Nucleus? Maybe. Do you know what? I wouldn't. I actually wouldn't swap it because the Nucleus, does it look better? You be the judge of that. I mean, this would look fantastic with this in the middle. I think the Nucleus, I think personally maybe the Nucleus looks a bit better. I like the Nucleus. I like these. I personally, I don't think I will swap these for that. But I love these. I love these. And if I was buying one now and I had the option to buy this for 3,500 or these two for 2,000, I'd buy these all day long. So there we have the SSL UF8. Brilliant DAW controller. Highly recommended. Probably the best DAW controller on the market at the moment. I won't be swapping my UF8s. I won't be swapping my Nucleus for UF8s just yet, because that's 100% compatible and works brilliantly. If that was to become incompatible with an update to OS, which I doubt it's ever going to do, I hope it doesn't, I would then swap them 100% for these. These would be what I would swap it for. Yeah, so there's the SSL UF8s and my opinion on how they compare to the SSL Nucleus.